War between Sigmar and the Gods of Chaos continues even beyond grand battles of huge armies clashing on fields of glory and death. It's the small actions of countless agents that greatly contribute towards the outcome of said wars. We return to Polatia and Stormcast Eternals of the Sacrosanct Chamber, who are on a mission to hunt down a lightning geist that escaped to 8 points. During the search, they come across a strangely deformed grove. All bushes and trees took on the color of crimson and now give off a faint scent of blood. It's thanks to 3 conduits of power scattered around the area that are leaking the power of Khorne. This phenomenon caught the eye of another party. Spire Tyrants, defeated by Scions of the Flame, are now on the quest for power. Receiving the blessing of Khorne himself would prove to be a great boon in future battles. What's up everybody, I am Xerxes, you're in my war room, and today you'll witness Stormcast Eternals and Spire Tyrants vie for the control of a bloody grove. Warband details are in the description of the video. To win the battle, both warbands have to gain control of 3 points of power. Each point of power will give the controlling warband 1 victory point at the end of each round. Whoever has more victory points at the end of round 3 is the victor. A scouting party of 2 pit fighters and Duardin ranger set up in the middle of the board right next to one of the points inside an old fountain. The remaining forces of Spire Tyrants lie in wait to enter the battlefield at an opportune moment. Stormcasts enter the battlefield from the southeastern corner of the battlefield. 1 Evocator and 1 Castigator are leading the charge. Polatia and 2nd Castigator stay a bit behind to have a better eye on the situation. 1 Evocator stays outside the battlefield to hunt down the hidden tyrants. As 2 warbands prepare for battle, leaves begin to rustle, and soon a powerful gale starts to blow in the grove. The wind is hot and carries a metallic scent of boiling blood. Bloodwind Twist card grants every warrior +1 attack and +1 strength if they suffered at least 1 point of damage. Normally, such occurrence would not affect the Stormcasts, but they are far from home and the watchful eye of Sigmar. Stormcasts have very strong ranged units, and their threat range is wide. However, Spire Tyrants have chosen the superior tactical approach and have the advantage in numbers. That gives them better battlefield control. Both warbands roll for initiative. Spire Tyrants get triple 2s and double 3s, and 1 single. They decide to keep their wild dice. Stormcasts get a quad of 3s and 2 singles. They decide to use their wild dice to turn single 5 into double 5s. After the double roll-off, Spire Tyrants gain the initiative in the first round. The pit fighter armed with a spear moves around the fountain to shield herself from the Stormcast's bolts. One of the Castigators decides to begin by demonstrating the might of Stormcasts. He uses the available quad to activate the Rampage ability. He shuffles to the side to get a better vantage point and unleashes a hail of bolts upon the enemies. And the Duardin is his first target. Needing 4s to hit due to cover, he rolls 3 dice. The first bolt hits the fountain, but it splashes the Dragon Breath on the Rager, dealing 4 points of damage. Second bolt hits the Duardin right in the head for 8 points of damage, frying him into a crisp and removing him from the battle. The Castigator aims his third shot at the pit fighter with a net. Needing 3s to hit, he rolls 3 dice. The fighter is spread with a Dragon Breath for 4 points of damage, charring his face almost completely. The pit fighter with the net patches himself up by using triple 2s to activate the Respite ability. Then he decides to wait. The second Castigator approaches the point of power between a column and the rock. The pit fighter that previously waited forgoes his action and focuses his efforts on the point of power. The Evocator advances towards the fountain to engage his enemies next round. Palatia moves in to support one of the Castigators. At the end of round 1, Spire Tyrants control the fountain, while the Stormcast control the eastern point of power. Both warbands receive 1 victory point each. Cruel, Headclaimer and Bestigor Destroyer appear in the southwestern corner behind the hill. 3 Pit Veterans enter the battlefield from the northern edge to have the shortest route towards the fountain. Spire Tyrants are in full force now. However, Cruel and his retinue won't be able to reach the western point of power. Will Stormcasts gain control of the fountain, or will the veterans' shields prove too tough to crack? Both warbands roll for initiative. Spire Tyrants get a quad of 6s, it's raining quads today, and 2 singles. They decide to add 1 of their wild dice to the pool of singles. Stormcasts get triple 1s and 3 singles. They decide to convert single 6 into double 6s. That allows Tyrants to maintain the initiative. The Pit Fighter with a net is the first one to act. He lets the power of Khorne leaking from the fountain to overcome him. He uses the quad to activate the Rampage ability and rushes towards the Evocator, screaming like a madman. Needing 5s to hit, he rolls 4 dice, thanks to the Bloodwind twist card, and begins wailing at the Stormcast. First hit deals 3 points of damage. Second hit deals no damage, and the third hit deals 1 point of damage. Pit Fighter's frenzied, aimless onslaught barely dented the golden armor. The Evocator can't shake the feeling of anger welling up deep inside him. He shouts loudly and swings at the fighter. Needing 3s to hit, he rolls 5 dice. First series of attacks cuts up the fighter's torso for 6 points of damage. Second flurry of attacks deals only 4 points of damage. Before even realizing, the Evocator also began waving his sword wildly and barely managed to put down the maniacally laughing Pit Fighter. Cruel moves nonchalantly towards the western point of power. The Castigator that guards Palatia decides to shoot one of the newly arrived Pit Veterans. Needing 5s to hit due to cover, he rolls 3 dice. Both bolts smash against the veteran's shield, burning his arms for 2 points of damage each. Though itching for a fight, Headclaimer follows Cruel under his watchful eye. Another Castigator moves behind the Evocator and aims his crossbow at the wounded Pit Veteran. Uses triple 1s to activate Burst of Celestial Lightning ability to add extra point of damage to his hits. Needing 4s to hit, he rolls 3 dice. However, the bolt hits the veteran's shield without exploding, and deals no damage. Bestigor Destroyer joins Cruel and Headclaimer. Palatia, having no other choice, moves towards the fountain to join the fight for its control. All 3 Pit Veterans march towards the fountain in a tight phalanx. The wounded Pit Veteran engages the Evocator. At the end of round 2, both warbands control 1 objective each, giving them 1 victory point each. A completely outmaneuvered Evocator arrives at the eastern edge of the battlefield. Stormcasts have a tough task ahead of them. They need to get through very resilient veterans to gain control of the fountain. Will Khorne allow them to deal enough damage? Both warbands roll for initiative. Spire Tyrants get triple 5s, double 3s, and 1 single. They decide to use their remaining 2 wild dice to convert single 4 into double 4s and add 1 to their pools of singles. Stormcasts get triple 2s and 3 singles. They decide to spend their last wild dice to convert single 6 into double 6, and gain the initiative in the last round. The wounded Evocator decides to attack the Pit Veteran before him. Needing 3s to hit, he rolls 5 dice. Driven by Bloodwind, he starts swinging wildly. All attacks hit the veteran's shield, sending sparks everywhere. He suffers only 2 points of damage and opens himself up by stumbling backwards. Evocator's second attack deals 8 points of damage. By thrusting his sword through Veteran's chest, he removes him from the battlefield. Headclaimer approaches the western point of power. The Castigator that guards the eastern point of power decides to shoot one of the pit veterans. Needing 5s to hit due to cover, he rolls 3 dice. The first bolt surprises the veteran as it explodes near her mask, dealing 6 points of damage. She prepares herself for the second bolt, which deals only 2 points of damage. She's severely wounded, but still alive. Taking the advantage of her position, she decides to spend one of the doubles to shield ram the Evocator. She doesn't put enough power behind the charge, however, and she bounces off the golden armor. But she finds a good opening for an attack. Needing 5s to hit, she rolls 3 dice and manages to wound the Evocator for 8 points of damage. The nearby Castigator decides to support his brother in arms. He shoots the wounded pit veteran. Needing 4s to hit, he rolls 3 dice. The bolt explodes near her, dealing 4 points of damage and removing her from the battlefield. Then, he aims at the last remaining veteran. Activating Burst of Celestial Lightning for an extra point of damage, he shoots. Needing 5s to hit due to cover, he rolls 3 dice. The bolt hits the edge of the fountain and explodes, sending lightning arcs everywhere. The veteran is struck for 3 points of damage. The slightly singed veteran decides to follow his training and activates the Shield Ram ability with the remaining double 3s. He charges the Evocator but fails to damage him. Like previously, the Evocator stumbles and opens himself up. The veteran strikes. Needing 5s to hit, he rolls 3 dice and stabs the Warrior of Sigma for 6 points of damage. Volatia approaches the fountain to have the point of power within her reach and casts an arcane bolt towards the pit veteran. Needing 5s to hit, she rolls 2 dice. The magic missile is partially blocked by the shield, but the veteran still receives 3 points of damage. He's still standing, however. The remaining pit fighter decides to use the move that brought the Spire Tyrants one of many victories in the pits. She stands behind a pit veteran, and using the range of a spear, she thrusts it at the Evocator. She uses triple as a double to activate the Onslaught ability. Needing 5s to hit, she rolls 4 dice. The spear finds the gap between the helmet and the armor, and by dealing 2 points of damage, sends the Evocator back to the realm of Azir. The remaining Evocator attempts to run towards the enemies, but it is in vain. He was too late. Krul strolls casually towards the fountain to claim his victory. Bestigor Destroyer follows him diligently. At the end of round 3, Spire Tyrants maintain the control of the fountain and capture the western point of power, which grants them 2 victory points. Spire Tyrants claim the Bloodgrove for the glory of Khorne. Stormcast have to escape in order not to be overwhelmed by the power of the God of Blood. And that's it for today's battle report. As usual, thank you for sticking till the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to anoint that like button in the name of Khorne, and I'll see you in the next one.